Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I come to you in my glamorous t-shirt and my cute little hair clip and a bare face because I know in every tutorial that I film I always say I'm going to do an in-depth tutorial on this, whatever it may be. And so I figured why not sit down and go ahead and film all the things that I've said I was going to do just in one day and be comfortable doing it. So got my t-shirt on. And I'm going to upload these videos in portions, so it's going to look kind of funny because I'm not going to have a full face of makeup on, because I want to show you guys like an actual tutorial and show you how to do it and why you're doing it. And I don't know what has been going on with my computer or my memory card. It's something that's making it jump like that, but I'm thinking it's my computer. So hopefully this video won't be impacted by that awful technical glitch, but I will do my best to have these up kind of close together so that it flows from one thing to the next, just so you guys can get a more in-depth explanation onto why I do things. And some of these things you might not need to know, so you can just skip around to what you want to see. But thank you guys so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first video that I'm going to film is going to be my foundation routine with color correction. As you can see, I have a lot of hyperpigmentation around my mouth, like a really yellow and like darker than everything else, and then I have a lot of redness right here on my temples and a little bit on my forehead, which that can be covered up with foundation mostly. But I started with a clean face. I went ahead and applied my sunscreen, which is just a part of my everyday makeup application or my everyday face routine. So I'm going to show you guys a few different primers because I always start with a primer. This is just going to help the longevity of your foundation and help it wear throughout the day. And then of course primers have different benefits. This one here is an illuminating primer, so if you have dry skin and you want to look like you have a fresh glow, I would highly recommend this one. And of course there are high-end and drugstore products. No Makeup Forever has a lot. Like if you have oily skin, you want to make sure that you're using a primer that will mattify your oil and help kind of control it throughout the day. Makeup Forever has one that people rave about, and I've never used it because I don't have oily skin. My skin is basically normal to dry. There's one at Target, it's the brand number 7, and it's in my freelance kit, and it's a mattifying primer. I've been using that on my clients and it's been working very well. Which I'm not an expert on what you should do, but if you have different issues with your skin, then it's always good to try to knock those things out starting from the very beginning, because it's all about starting with your base. So if your skin is dry, you can make sure that you put moisturizer on before, and then you use an illuminating primer or a primer that's going to help moisturize. So even though you still have oily skin, you want to make sure that you still moisturize, because your face is going to make even more oil if you don't moisturize, because it thinks that you're extra dry. So even though you might be oily, that's what your skin is used to, and that's not a bad thing because you won't age as quickly as people with dry or normal skin. You can kind of eliminate that problem if you make sure that your skincare regimen is special to your oily skin and you do your makeup routine based around your oily skin. So now I'm going to show you 3 primers that I have. This is the one that I talked about that would be good for dry skin. It's an illuminating primer, and it kind of feels like a lotion, but it gives a really pretty pink sheen and a nice glow to your skin. And then I have a little sample that I got that I used some of my points on at Sephora, and it's the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer, and I really love this primer, but for like the 1 ounce bottle, I think it's like $50. It might be more than that, I'm not even sure, but it's a little bit pricey. So I've been using this and I've been loving it, but then I also looked up dupes, and supposedly the NYX Angel Veil is a good dupe for this primer. Now the texture and consistency is a little bit different between these two. You can definitely tell this one is more high-end, but my makeup wears pretty well because my skin is normal to dry, so those might be things that I can work around. So I'm going to use the NYX Angel Veil because I've only used it twice, and like I said, you want to make sure that your face is clean, you have a moisturizer on, and you apply everything with clean hands because you don't want any bacteria to get into your pores and cause breakouts. So I'm going to use a little bit of that and just apply that on my face. It's supposed to like smooth and blur and whatever, and I try not to be too rough with my face and not to use my index finger because that can tug on your skin a lot. And I know that's something little, but you kind of want to go up and out. You want to defy gravity basically, so that you don't pull all your skin down and kind of like speed up your aging process and like make your face droopy. So I've seen Carly Bible say that you don't want to go up because of your like facial hair, but you can always go back and smooth that out lightly if you're really fuzzy, if you've got a lot of peach fuzz, you can do that. But I always try to go back. So I have 3 different products, and 2 of these are drugstore and this one is high-end, but you can always find drugstore products that will do the same thing. I know NYX has a color correcting quad that I have in my freelance kit that has these same colors in it. But green is going to neutralize red. Since I have redness in these areas, I'm going to apply a little bit of this onto my face. I do have redness in other areas too, but I don't want my makeup to get too cakey, so if my foundation will cover it or maybe a little bit of concealer, I don't want to add on too many layers. So, you know, that's just a side note. If your makeup sometimes looks cakey, you want to use as little makeup as you can and as little as product as you can, just so that you don't have so much product on your face. Next, this is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer in the shade Neutralizer. Now, to correct the hyperpigmentation around my mouth, I do use this, although purple is really used to neutralize yellow. I just use this because it's a little bit more... it's more based on coverage than actually color correcting. But I'm going to go ahead and blend these out and blend these into my skin using my damp beauty blender. And you're probably thinking, why would you want to put a color on your face? But the concealer and foundation that you're going to go in with last will cover these up. But this is just going to neutralize that so that it's less coverage you need from your foundation, because the problem is taken care of when you use these color correcting products. So I'm gonna blend those in, use the excess on the areas that I have redness in without applying more product. We're going to go in with the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. I just picked this up on the 20% off VIB sale that was this past week, which I'll be doing a haul video once I get all of my orders in, and I might do a collective haul with all my Christmas presents to myself whenever I order them. So stay tuned for that. This is just a light pink salmon color, and even if you don't own any of the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kits, you'll notice that each kit has a pink, like an orangey tone or a coral tone, top right corner. Those serve the same purpose. They're under eye color correctors. So depending on your skin tone, if you're light skin tone, then you'll want the pink salmon color. Or medium to deep, you'll want the more corally orangey shades. And I've even seen some people use red lipstick, and you can do that. Just make sure you go in with a light hand and that your concealer and foundation that you're going to follow up with is pretty full coverage so that it will cancel that out. But it really does help with your under eye circles. So you'll notice that I do have the same hyperpigmentation around my eyes. They're like a yellowy kind of purple, and you can see my veins. But I always go with my concealer at the top of that, so I don't feel that it's necessary to add another layer of product. One thing I love about this Becca Under Eye Corrector is that it's really creamy, so it kind of moisturizes my under eye, because my skin is pretty dry on my under eye, and sometimes it makes my makeup and my concealer kind of look cakey and like crepey, if that makes sense. So I've really been liking this. A lot of people have been raving about this, and I've also been enjoying it. So it's definitely going to be one of my holy grail products. And now, since I've already done my primer and my color correction, I'm going to go with my foundations. And I haven't self-tanned in over a week, so I still have to mix 2 colors because I'm not my normal butt white color, but I'm also not my tanner shade. So I'm going to take the shade Nude Beige W3 from Loreal True Match and my NW13 MAC Studio Fix Fluid and mix these together on the back of my hand. And then I'll just be dotting them on my face and then blending them in with my Sigma F80 Flat Top Kabuki. A lot of people have been using that Morphe M439. I think that's what it's called, the big brush. And some of my friends have been raving about that. So that might be something that I have to gift to myself and test it out, because a lot of people have been loving that. I don't usually buy new brushes, because if the ones that I have work, why spend the money? But I might try a few of these Morphe brushes out, because I know the G2 brush is supposed to be really good for blending out your concealer. And my friend Cameron, that's also here on YouTube, I'll link her channel down below, she has just recently purchased that and she really likes it. So I'm going to be mixing these shades on the back of my hand, which I made a huge mess, but it's okay. And I also dropped this on my neck because after I had my son, something crazy happened and I started getting a rash on my neck and on my left wrist. I was like, what is this? Well, I finally realized that I'm right-handed, so I spray my perfume on my neck and on my left wrist. And so now I can't use perfume anymore because it gives me this rash and I don't know how to get it to go away. So if this has happened to you guys or you know how to get rid of it, please leave me comments down below because it drives me crazy. And also the self-tan really sticks to my neck like badly, and it's patchy since I haven't tanned in over a week. So that's another reason. I just want a little bit of extra coverage on my neck. I also purchased the Too Faced Born This Way foundation with my 20% off coupon, and I got home, I was so excited because everyone's been loving that. You see it in like every YouTube tutorial, and it made my skin look awful. And I was so stupid because we had family pictures and I tried out all my new stuff, including that foundation. And we got in the car and my fiance was like, your face looks really like cakey. It looks like you have a lot of makeup on. And I looked in the mirror and like my skin was so, like I had so much texture to my skin, like little bumps everywhere. And it's kind of a moussey texture. And I used to have a Maybelline foundation that was in like a jar that kind of did the same thing. And so I think I just need to stay away from those textures. But I was so disappointed because everyone has been loving that foundation. And you'll see it everywhere, but it just did not work for me. So I'm back to mixing these two colors. And this is actually, I just picked up this Loreal True Match because I used to use the Lumi religiously. But I wanted to try the original formula because one of my friends recommended that to me. And I've really been liking it. It gives me a really nice, really natural and kind of not glowy, but it looks, my skin looks really healthy. So I'll just apply that all over my face, and then I take my damp beauty blender and work that into my skin and pick up any excess product. And now I'm going to go in with my concealer. This is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. I'm in the shade Light Warm, and you know that Matte Pro Longwear is like my holy grail concealer, and this is basically Matte Pro Longwear but in a much more practical way, because when you use Matte Pro Longwear you either get out way too much and have too extra, or you have to like literally make sure you try to pump the tiniest bit, and that takes forever and you probably still get out too much. So since this has the little applicator, it makes it so much easier to work with, and that used to take me a long time to do my concealer just because of the way that the Matte Pro Longwear comes out. But I'm just going to apply this in the same areas that I want highlighted. And this will kind of also go into the contouring tutorial, because there are two versions of highlighting. It's with your concealer and then with a powder highlight, like the Mary Luminizer or Becca Champagne Pop, Becca Opal, all those popular things that you hear about everywhere on YouTube, because you want to make your face look more lifted. This will also be a big factor in that, using a lighter color concealer than your foundation. So I'm also going to blend that in with my beauty blender. And I'm going to start with the areas that I applied a thinner layer, because it will dry more quickly and it'll be harder to blend out if you don't go ahead and blend that out. So I'll go back to my under eye and I'll do those last. And as always, I'm going to set my under eye with a disposable cosmetic sponge and my Maybelline Finishing Veil translucent powder. And that's just to make sure that I don't crease, because I always do. And it's also called baking. I'm noticing that I still have a lot of those little bumps from the Too Faced foundation on my face. I tried to do one of my Lush masks to clear that up, but obviously it's going to take a little bit more time. So yeah, I'm really disappointed in how that made my skin look, but I'm glad it works for some people. I guess everyone is different. Okay, and at this point I would do my brows, but I'm going to do a separate tutorial on that. So I'm going to let this sit for a little bit, and then that will conclude my foundation routine, because I'm done with all my liquid and my liquid foundation and my concealer, and I showed you guys how I try to color correct. So right now I look like an Indian, but I'll wipe this off with my small taper brush from e.l.f., which I really love this brush. I'm also going to go ahead and set my eyelids with the same powder, just because my eyelids do crease because they are hooded. So I always have to make sure that I go back in with that same powder that I set my eyes with, because it also gives you an easier application with your eyeshadow when you have a clean base, compared to just applying it over the wet concealer. It can kind of get patchy and it's not as easy to blend. So just to make sure I don't crease up top, I will apply the same powder. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for part 2.